Hello guys. Our last session for this year, and then we're gonna go on our break. I know I'm probably sounding like a broken record at this moment already, but I'm gonna repeat still. So next week, we're gonna have a 1 week break from the program, and then we're gonna continue first week of January. So the first week, we're gonna have a briefing session on what you need to have in your midterm review deck. And then 2 weeks after, we're gonna have our midterm review. Okay, I'm gonna let people in first. All right. So earlier today, we had the session with Puan Anja on impact measurement and quantifying. So Puan Anja did mention a little bit on stakeholders, right? So today's session mainly we want to talk about stakeholder management and stakeholder and government management. Right. I think everyone is in, yeah. Okay, all right. So before I forget, let me tell you guys. So in the meantime, from today, no, I think from next year, till 18, till your midterm review, I know some of you guys have reached out to me and you guys have told me specifically what are the areas of help that you guys need help with. So I'm going to connect you to the relevant mentors who can guide you on that specific areas that you need help with, okay? So for you guys who have not reached out to me and have not told me what help you guys what help exactly that you guys need, do so. Feel free to bother me next week as well. Let me know what help you need. Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. So before we start with our session today, let me tell you, this session is basically a panel session. And then by the end of the session, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask your questions. You can unmute yourself, or you can put your questions in the chat box, and then I will read it out for you. Okay. Okay, to start off, let me introduce you guys to our panel for today. First, we have Mr. Hisham. Hisham is the lead for My Startup Malaysia of Cradle, and he's been with Cradle, I think, for over 8 years now. So prior to Cradle, he was an executive at the Malaysian Business Angel Network and Band. So in Cradle, I think Hisham has worn multiple hats before. So he was in the Angel Tax Incentive. He was the Angel Tax Incentive Officer, Marketing and Strategic Partnership, and Investment Grants. Hisham, you can correct me if I'm wrong later.
No, everything is correct. No worries, no worries.
All right. Next, we have Kim. So Kim is the co-founder of Picha Eats, a social enterprise rebuilding the lives of refugees in Malaysia. So to give a short introduction, Kim and another two of her co-founder founded Picha Eats basically to facilitate the employment of refugees through food and also cooking. So as a team, Picha Eats has won the Chivas Venture 2017 and was the winner of Alliance Empowering Future Generation in Germany, Booking Boosters Top 10 Sustainable Venture with Booking.com and Top 10 Asia's Social Enterprise. So as for Kim's personal success, she was awarded the Edge Inspiring Young Leaders 2017 Awards, listed as Forbes 30 under 30 Asia and Asia's Atlas Generation P. So in 2017, she also co-founded another social enterprise focusing on education for refugees called The Other School. So before I start off with my first question, maybe Hisham and Kim, you guys can give a better introduction of yourself. A better short introduction of yourself. We can start off with Hisham.
Thank you, Amira. Nice to meet everyone here. Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon. So basically, Amira already introduced myself to everyone. So my name is Hisham. I'm looking into the My Startup Malaysia under the ecosystem development in Cradle. So don't confuse, we actually the same entity, just that the My Startup Malaysia is the initiative under the government through Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation mostly. So that are the initiative that currently being looked into by Cradle. So we have for the past 20 years, it's always been funding as the first main focus. And then in 2021, we have been appointed as the focal point agency for the Startup Ecosystem Roadmap. From that, my start was created lah from that particular roadmap. So now anything that not related to grant, will be covered under my department. However, I also can answer anything that related to grant because, like Amira mentioned earlier, actually this is gonna be my close to 10 years already in Cradle.
Okay.
It's a pleasure to be inside this ecosystem for the past almost 1 decade, right? But more to learn from the startup themselves lah. Because when we do this type of program, engagement, networking, or even though stakeholder management, one of our stakeholder will be the startup who actually benefited from the funding and also the program that being curated for the development of the ecosystem. So happy to answer any question for today. I hope you guys are not boring with this discussion. I know some of you guys is already in the mood of holidays, end year holiday. Same goes to me. But yeah, I'm here.
Thank
Pass
you,
back to
Hisham,
you.
for being here.
Pass back to you, Mira.
All right, Kim, maybe you can tell us more about you or your Picha Eats.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me today. My name is Kim, and I run Picha. It says how it was introduced, but how it really works is that we have a bunch of like customers, like from corporates and businesses that would purchase from us. Would purchase food, and then we would enable refugees who are cooking from home to prepare those meals to customers, where we deal with the logistics operations and liaison to customers. Same as Hisham, we've been doing this for 8 years, and it's been quite a journey. Having to my experience is to have to manage different stakeholders, whether it's from the community or whether it's with the customers, to our own fleet, our drivers, to the people that to the team members every single day, working from partnerships to uh, talking to investors. And at the same time, we don't have an investor till now, but we've been always having those conversations, and also dealing with I've been in different departments, so from sales to dabble in marketing to operations to being in the kitchen, and also have been as hands-on as I can running this business.
All right, thank you so much, Kim. Okay, now that we have known our panels, let me start off with the most basic question. So when it comes to, in startups, when we talk about stakeholders, who what kind of stakeholders, and who are the primary stakeholders that startups or impact-driven entrepreneurs should look when it comes to engagement? So who are the main and primary stakeholders that startups need to engage? Kim, maybe we can start off with Kim.
I think Hisham has more answers to this, but um, from I just share our experience. Our primary stakeholders are definitely the community that we work with, because that's literally our mission and vision in Picha, is to partner or rebuild lives of refugees that are in Malaysia transiting to hopefully be able to resettle to another country. So every single day, my primary stakeholders are the community, the refugee community, and then of course with the refugee community, we have to make sure that we have a business model that answers to the customers. So customers are our next um, secondary secondary stakeholders that we deal with every single day. So every day we deal with almost 20-30 customers in a day. And when I say 20-30 customers may sound small, but they are all B2B customers. So they are huge orders that we have to deal with. So these are the two stakeholders that we or myself have always need to um, reach and need to deal with. And then of course then the tertiary stakeholders then is our delivery fleet, people who has to deliver the food on ground, whether they are picking up food, dropping off food, um, all these things. There are many things that happens on the road. Those are the things that we had to deal with. So these are three stakeholders that ties the business together internally lah.
Okay, generally, Isha, maybe you can give a different perspective on who
Uh,
are the key stakeholders.
I think what we mentioned by Kim is truth.
Mm.
Basically, for a startup or for a company, a new company, the major stakeholder will be your customer, your consumer, or your user. Depend on what sector you are being in, and also which group or community that you are served. Because without the customer, you're not validating your business, right? You have a difficulty in validating the business. You have to identify who is the customer. And the second one, obviously your shareholder or your investor itself. So there are two major group or community within the startup or within the company that you have to look into, because compared to Cradle, we have different side of stakeholder, whether it's an internal stakeholder, external stakeholder, or government stakeholder. So then we deal with a lot of or multiple players in the ecosystem. But for startup, it's very clear. It's who you are. I mean, what business you are in that you are served. So they are your primary, and the second one who are being giving you the fund to run the business. To ensure that you have to deliver whatever being agree upon, but with the investor, and to give the very best services or product that meet the customer satisfaction. So even though in Cradle we are agency, we always have our end-year customer satisfaction survey as part of our stakeholder engagement. We do that quarterly. If you guys are visiting our mystartup.gov.my portal, you will see there is a one small tiny pop-up at the bottom of the portal that show that these are the survey for the stakeholder engagement whatsoever. So that's how we ensure whatever being needed by the our stakeholder being delivered at point in time, and at certain satisfactory that we have agreed upon. So there are the two key. Yep. For startup, like I said earlier, it's going to be the consumer or and also the shareholder of that company. It will be your stakeholder. Then that's how you manage the entire stakeholder management in the company itself.
Thank you so much, Hisham and Kim. Kim, my next question is for you. I'm not sure if Picha is, I'm pretty sure over the years Picha is has dealt with multiple stakeholders. So maybe you can share any successful partnerships or collaboration with other stakeholders that have positively impacted your business.
Well, well, like I mentioned, with the refugee community is our partnership with them in terms of making sure the supply is consistent and making sure there's enough supply or expanded supply whenever we need to cater to customers. But I think what you're trying to check also is like what you're trying to get out of what I'm trying to say is partnerships, stakeholders outside that are not really customers related. We did work with quite a few people, like recently we've done like a collaboration with Cura Grocer store for our Christmas collaboration. So I so far I don't think any huge stake that okay, let me put it like this. So this partnership collaboration depends on what do you want to get from the other side. So let's say with Cura, we really want to tap into their target market because their target market are literally our target markets. So we came together and we curated a set together, and we would promote it to our respective um, networks. So we're like a cross network collaboration so that they benefit and we benefit as well. So that's one. Other that's partnership collaboration that we also did with people like Maggie, Mommy. Sorry, not Maggie. Mommy, or like plant based called Future Meet. Um, yeah, quite a lot of collaboration that we've done before. But then we also work with different stakeholders. Let's say like just because we've won a few awards, and we have to make sure that we maintain those kind of relationship. So like we won like the Allianz Empowering Future Generation Allianz Insurance award, and from there it's not just winning the award, and we have to maintain relationship as to we have to do follow-ups. We have to make sure that because Allianz is also our customer, so we have to make sure that their requests are being fulfilled. We have to make sure that we maintain relationship in a way that we constantly check in with them. What's going on, how can we serve them better, or update them with our impact report. Um, so that's Allianz. Then you have like Booking.com, where we were top 10 in their booking booster program in Amsterdam. So Booking.com is also our customer. So then we also have to maintain relationship, update them about what happened, or like they can actually view it from our social media as well. So then our social audiences on our social media are considered stakeholders as well, because you are constantly updating them what's happening with your company. And these people that I mentioned, they do go on social media to check out. They do go on the website to check out what's latest with Picha. So those are things that we have successful collaboration or partnership with, and we continue to follow up and maintain.
Okay, interesting, Kim. I think I'll go back to you. I have a follow-up questions for all the partnerships that we've done, but maybe we can go to Hisham first. So Hisham, I know Cradle, and I'm pretty sure you've worked with different government agencies also, so you know some of the grants available from different organizations as well. So when it comes to government agencies, what are the expectations that they set for the startups if say if they put out money for their startups, especially the impact-driven startups? So what are the expectations from the government agency and how are they set?
So basically, for the government side, I mean, in terms of the milestone or deliverables that they will set from the funding that they provided, is depend on the appetite of that ministry at the point in time.
Mm-mm.
Last time when I will not go back 20 years back for Quaders. I will go just like 5 years back. There's a lot of things happen, even though it's just 5 years from 2023, right? So we started in 2018 after the shift of the government from from the previous to the previous one.
Mm.
There's already impact. The funding that's supposed to be given to the startup have changed. The nature have been changed. They're not only focused on e-commerce. They're not only focused on the digital, but they focus on something like bring back to the community, bring back to the economy kind of funding. So whenever they disburse or they set the milestone deliverables, for the government perspective as a whole, what is the impact to the GDP or what is the impact to the economy as a whole? Are you creating job? Are you paying tax back to me? Are you giving me more revenue profit for the next year? Are you going to increase the GDP for coming year? So these are the thing as the big picture when they provide funding for the startup. But that is not only per se one ministry only. It's accumulated entire across ministry that provided funding to because the government they don't have specific on the startup. Recently, yes, they have specific target for startup or tech startup through the Digital Economy Council. So they have set up few things already upstairs. But previously, we look SME as a whole. So like, even though you are not tech startup, you're a social impact startup, or you are a brick and mortar startup. So these are the thing that they look as a whole, right? So how do we set the verse of milestones? Like I said earlier, depend on the ministry side. For ministry, like I can talk about Cradle under the Ministry of Science and Innovation. We want to see the innovation being used. Whatever been developed by the R&D side, way back beyond, maybe in the healthcare, maybe in the AI, maybe in the blockchain, whatsoever, it be implemented in the society, will be used by the society in the market. being validated by the user in the market. So that's how we see the impact, or how we see how we calculate the impact of that innovation. But if you look at SME like KUSKOP, Ministry of Entrepreneurship, right? They're helping startup that in the F&B sector, manufacturing sector. So they are more increasing the purchase power of the public. That's the impact they want to see. So if you can create product lesser than the market price, it will be good, right? So we give you more funding, so you reduce the cost of that product, so that it can be buy out by the public in the future. So that are the impact that they calculated. So it depend rules, depend mandates. But at the end of the day, the big picture will be the economy is growing. That's the government goals. And now you can see after COVID, no more AI, no more just AI, no more just blockchain, no more just machine learning. Now we are moving to ESG, economy, social, and also government, right? So that part also currently being looked into as an impact as a whole, because worldwide Russia war, and then now the Gaza conflict also. Whatever being spent have to be prudent, have to be ensured that it will not affect certain community. Have to be ensure that at the end of the day, it's bringing back to the society, or create more job in the market, or to create sustainable innovation that can be used, and it will bring more benefit for the startup in the future. So these are how we set the stone on milestone at the early stage. But don't look into the big one. So because the big one is like I said, it's accumulated. It's not only depend on one ministry. It's a cross ministry collaboration. But per se, you are in the line of the innovation, technology innovation under the MOSTI side. So we look into the innovation, the grassroots innovation, until the commercialization of the innovation. So that's are the impact that we are looking right now. And how soon are we going to be a high tech nation in the future is something that we also foreseeing right now can be achieved by 2030.
Interesting. All right. Thank you so much, Hisham. Before I proceed with the next question, maybe I can open up the floor for startups. If you guys have any questions, unmute yourself and go ahead and ask. Any of you guys have questions?
Hi, here. Go first.
Yeah, sure.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Ken. Perhaps you have to
Yeah.
speak louder.
Okay. I have question to Mr. Hisham. So, Mr. Hisham, I'm actually I run nursing home. So right now I'm looking at different business model whereby I want to help other nursing homes in Malaysia, empower them with their operation, with their management, and all those things. So, in terms of getting funding, right, from either or other government side funds, why is my business, and is there any possibility of getting funding for business?
Hisham, did you catch that?
Maybe it's a bit breaking, but I think I got. So the question is, you are doing nursing at home, right? And then something to do that, how viable is that solution to the market, correct?
If I may, Ashwin.
Yeah,
So basically, they're trying to empower the nursing home providers. So
I see.
through their operations, automation, and all those. So the clients would be the nursing home providers. So in terms of his business model, how viable is Joy for government funding?
What kind of category or nursing that you're looking right now, Ashwin? Is a child or the
I'm
adulthood?
looking at for elderly nursing homes.
Okay,
Hello.
I think
Yes.
elderly for now, we have been received few proposal coming in, but still don't have the final result whether we want to fund or not. But moving to aging nation in the coming 3 or 5 years is something that very crucial. In fact, earlier this morning, one of the radio station have an interview with one of the community leaders in the elderly nursing, right? They mentioned about nowadays youngsters are very hardworking and don't have time to taking care of their parents, right? Whether it's something that morality is good or not. So for me, from cradle side, as long the technology is innovative, solve the pain in the market, can be sustained, barrier of entry is high, we will look that we will fund that actually. That is the four criteria. Not say that is the only four criteria. If you tick all four, then we fund. No, but it's something that if you pass this first test, then we will come in or we will consider to be fund. In terms of the viable of this market, I see in Malaysia itself, it's still a debate. All right. So for example, the cultural, right? Whether few race culture, if you have this empowering the elderly nursing at home is something that being accepted, or actually is go back to their children. Actually, you have to empower to take care of their elderly at the home. But you are talking about a nation that have a population, not say not many, around 32 million, right? And also we are moving like 60, I think close to 40 to 50% is going to be aging soon. And with the current challenges in the market, uh, it's too early to say yes or no, but something that we can look into or fund into, as long as, like I said earlier, it's innovative, uh, solve the problem or solve the pain in the market, scalable, and also the fourth one is barrier of entry is high.
Right. Ashwin, hope that answers your question.
Yes. Answers.
Right.
Alright.
Thank you, Ashwin.
Thank you, Ashwin. Any other startups with questions? Okay, I would assume no, yeah? Okay, I'll open up the floor again later after I finish with my questions. All right, Kim, I think you mentioned a few partnerships with corporates, right? So when it comes to satisfying the requirements from these corporates, maybe you can tell us your experience, how difficult it is, or it's rather simple for you. Maybe some of these startups, they have never experienced any sort of partnerships with corporates. So perhaps you can share with us your experience.
Okay, sure. Partnership with corporates, like, it depends, like whether they're procuring from you or like they are trying to do like a cross promotion, or you're trying to work out an MOU with them. It depends. As you know, as customers, if they are customers to us, I think it's really important to, because we serve food, so it's really important for us to know who their demographics are. And as much as we know how are the people like eating inside the company, the best we can curate a menu that works for them. So that's basically how we work with corporates in terms if they are our customers. But if it comes to like cross marketing and all, um, it it depends what fulfills their, for us it depends what fulfills their so-called ESG or CSR agenda. We rarely touch CSR because CSR has a very different angle to how they work with different organizations. So we rarely touch CSR, mostly like ESG or things like this. So if it's ESG, then it's more of like what can we fulfill in terms of the sustainability part, or even sometimes environmental part that fits their agenda. So that's one. I think a few are also like them getting us to do a sharing and on their platform. Sometimes they have like a brown bag session, or like they have like uh sustainability week or International Women's Day and all those things. Then we will see, oh, okay, what we can do to help their team members to learn about the work that we do, because mostly they also want like their team members to be open to the social cause that we champion. So those are kind of the collaborations that we work with. One was with Mummy. Mummy was a corporation for sure. And with Mummy was very much like exchanging R&D capabilities, or like exchanging recipes, or cross promoting on each other's platform. That was with Mummy. Yeah, so basically those are the things that we do when it comes to working with corporates.
Understand? All right. So I think we have two new questions came in. So maybe Kim and Isham, you can get this question. Let me read it out for you. So, hi, this is Rashmi from Walls. So, what Walls do is they run an education-focused social enterprise that aims to develop communication skills and critical thinking skills. So, she's just wondering if there is such thing as too many stakeholders, and if there is such thing, how do you prioritize your stakeholders? Maybe Kim, you can get this one first, and then we can get to.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there is such thing as too many stakeholders. I think there are many ways to prioritize. You can prioritizing by which gives you more energy, or you can prioritize by which gives you more benefits, which takes up most of your time, uh, which takes longer process. And you have to choose. You always have to prioritize because you don't have a lot of time in a day, and most of the time, unless you have a team. So let's say like my customers, then it's my sales team and customer service team entertaining. So I don't have to entertain most of the time unless they are really, really important customers that comes to me straight and it requires me to service them. Then I will prioritize. Um, let's say again, like the refugee community that we work with, I have a community team to manage that stakeholder. And unless it's a very, very serious case that I have to step in, then I will step in. And then also same as the delivery fleet, I have operations team to manage them. Unless there's an accident on the road that needs an insurance to cover or whatever, even so there are other teams that can actually manage those things. Then I will have to step in. So I think it's very important to first build a team that can manage your different stakeholders, and then you also have to then decide what stakeholder that you can manage, so or you are responsible to manage. So my role switches, but my main role is to manage investors conversation, any grant conversation, manage right now because we're setting up a centralized kitchen. So to manage renovators are also our stakeholders. Renovators are suppliers. Even our suppliers, we do have a team to manage them as a stakeholder, because a lot of people thought that suppliers are the stakeholders that you don't have to take care, but actually suppliers are the stakeholders that you do also have to look and take care of them, because they can actually screw up your product a lot of times, and your product is what makes money for you. So you do have to take care of them. So I think prioritizing what you can manage and then prioritizing what the team can manage in terms of stakeholder is very important. Even so, let's say like sales team are to manage customers, they also need to know what kind of customers they need to manage. And then within their team, they also have to decide, by the ticket size, what kind of stakeholders require the lead to manage, and what kind of stakeholders can the executives manage. So uh, you can definitely put in different categories, and you can put in different prioritization and how much certain stakeholders gives you in terms of energy and takes your time. And you need to also learn how to manage stakeholders that takes away your energy, uh, or gives you a lot of energy. Stakeholders that takes away a lot of your energy, you do need to learn how to manage them out, because it's not sustainable in the long term for you as well. And those that gives you a lot of energy are those people who could give 10 times fold in terms of benefits or in terms of anything in the long run.
Okay, Hisham, you want to add your thoughts to that? Maybe you can share a little bit on if it those cases happens, like too many stakeholders. What are some of the common mistakes that startups tend to do?
Is go back to the fundamental. Basically, what Kim explained earlier is go back to her fundamental as a founder for Picha Seeds, right? So like I said earlier in the briefing earlier, how you identify your stakeholder. Startup is consumer, your user, or your shareholder. That's the two fundamental that you have to prioritize. But along the way, you're expanding. Then you have your internal stakeholder, which is your team, and then you expand more. Then you have business partner that you have to work with. Prioritization is correct. Something that you have to look into when you're managing the stakeholder. A lot of tools in the market or something like stakeholder management, for example, user experience, or example, your consumer database or consumer interaction that can easy your process in communicating with your stakeholder. The keyword here is how you communicate or how you deliver the message and how you ensure at the end of the day they are satisfied with your process or service. So these are the main two key or the fundamental that you have to look in arranging your stakeholder. Again, go back to the fundamental, the consumer or the user plus the shareholder or the investor, and you will work along the way. Because some of the founder or co-founder that we meet up, they have communication, the lack of communication. So sometimes they have a lot of things happen in their head, a lot of things they want to expose to the market, but they don't know how to convey. For me, to find someone that know how to run business is something that you must do. But at the end of the day, you have someone that can deliver the communication well. Is something that you have to look into. Again, we seen a lot of in the ecosystem. They have a very creative, very innovative, very sustainable and scalable product or innovation. But because of the communication to their stakeholder is a bit poor, so the thing cannot be invested. So they don't get any new business partner, they don't get any business investor. So it's a waste of them that developed something that very good for the nation, right? Yes, your partners agree also we came in terms of the teams, right? What you look into and who look into the other side. So it's either you have a team, but again, startup don't have leisure in hiring a lot of people at the beginning. So you have to have a strong supporter or co-founder lah for me in terms of communicate with your stakeholder. From that, then you prioritize. They go back to the fundamental. Your user, your consumer plus your investor, and then along the way they will prioritize which one that should go to your side, which one should go to the other side. Basically, the founder and co-founder, most of them, the founder will tackle the founder or the CEO usually will tackle the investor stakeholder or the business partner stakeholder, where else the operational guy or the tech guy or the marketing will take over the consumer or the user stakeholder. That's how they prioritize it lah, most of the time.
Okay, interesting. Thank you so much. Very useful sharing. All right, I think the next one, it's not a question, but basically
A suggestion.
recommendation, a suggestion from Jonah. So for startups, for all of you guys, if this might benefit you, for startups with technology innovation at TRL 6 to 7, so Jonah strongly recommend the NTIS with Magic, I think, where they can fund pilot projects. All right. I'm gonna open the floor for any questions from the startups still. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask questions, yeah? All right. Okay, so I think Kim, you did mention just now that you have not received any investment as for now, but you have been speaking to a few of investors, right? So based on your experience, I know different investors, they expect different things, but based on your experience, if you can, I guess, like not generalize, like summarize, what exactly that they expect out of a social enterprise. So when startups want to approach an investor, what should they know and establish from the very beginning? What are the things that investors expect, and what are their expectations from the investors?
Sure. So the investors that I've been talking to are mainly very much Asia context. But I've also been to the Western countries, and I see how investors actually invest in Western social enterprises in the West. I would say the impact investors in Asia are not very matured, because the first thing they will see is financial goal, for sure. As much as they want to talk about like impact and all, at the end of the day, they will still ask you how fast they can get their money, how much money, or like what's the valuation like for them, or how much they would actually get in terms of returns. All these are very fundamental questions that any startups should have answers to, for sure. um, but as a social enterprise, I also want to know the person that I'm going to marry to has the same goal as me, not just financial goal but social impact goal as well. So if I don't feel that from that investors, then I wouldn't go ahead with the conversations anymore. So we do talk to quite a few investors in a way that some do not agree with our evaluation, or some, uh, if they do not agree, they will always talk down on you as well. So I think it's very important you stay true to your mission and stay true to what you think your worth is. Show track records if you can. Track records that are strong, and if you cannot show strong track records, you have to explain why, and when you can show them. I think those things are very important. Uh, what Western countries, they do get fundings, investment, not to say easily, but investors always see social impact first. So the money can come later, which helps
Good. Kim.
which helps fund the social impact faster, or accelerate the progress way faster, or even innovations faster for social impact. So I do see a lot of money going into um, innovations, for sure, whether it's a startup or whether it's a social enterprise. Um, but innovations in enterprise or social impact field don't get funding all the time, but in the West they get funding a lot of times. So those kind of like innovations really fly really fast for the social impact field. But in Asia, no, it does not happen that much. So I think it takes a lot of time. We are still going to take time to get there. um yeah, that's pretty much what I have about investors.
That's an interesting point of view. Hisham, if you want to add any more, any of your insights, how about the scene of investment when it comes to impact-driven startups?
Yeah, I do agree on term of the not say Malaysia lah, we say the Southeast Asia investor, right? Whenever we want to invest, we always talking about the next 5 years, next 7 years, what's going to happen, right? We already have in mind, if I put here 100,000, should I get 1 million in the next 3 or 5 years? But now we do see a shifting when there is a lot of education being given to this investor. Still a lot of things to be improved, but coming to the balancing of that, not only you focus on financial, but you have to focus on the, when people always talk about ESG, now people talk about ESG, right? So now previously was SDG, the SDG goal, right? So it have to be for my side, that's how we develop the ecosystem, right? So not only investor put in money, but we also have to educate them to understand the startup better. So what we need to ensure then, number one, whenever you invest in impact startup, you have to see the impact as overall, not only financial, but also to the community, to the environment, or to the government side. So what's going to happen if you put in money? Then what's going to happen in the next year or in the next 3 years? So are you reducing the pollution? Are you ensuring the education being spread well? Or are you see the food security going to be stable? So these are the things that are being running by Cradle and my startup side when we do the investor bootcamp lah, or we do the investor masterclass. We take one example, agriculture. None of us seen or foreseen we don't have enough onion, we don't have enough wheat in the last 5 years back. So when the Ukraine issue happened, so we lost a lot of wheat, and then after that, India also stopped exporting their onion to our region because they also lack of supply. So when we come to the agriculture last time, people always see if I invest in your technology, how soon is going to harvest and how soon I get back the money. Now they will see how soon this thing can be harvest and is this going to be sustained or stable for the next 5 years, the food going to be enough in the market. Then they will talk about when the money will come in or when their revenue will come in. So it's a long process. Still have to educate more on this part. But that is one of the pillar that we look into the food security part and in ensuring not only the investor, especially the private one, government side is always there. They will always be the first to put in the money. But for them is to ensure the private also handshake together and invest in the startup uh, and ensuring the impact to be seen in the coming near future compared to the financial first. Then I would say this thing, a lot of investor more trust, especially the private one, with the foreign technology compared to the local innovation. But I do tell you, startup in Malaysia, especially the tech young startup, are very talented and their innovation is quite. I can say is the level is more than whatever have in the Southeast Asian market. Why? Because number one, they are when they develop thing, they always been challenged by their own investor compared to other country. Other country people want to invest. Our country, our investor is challenged, but our investors invest in the other country side. So their mental that they have is already strong, and I think the fundamentals soon, with this kind of education going on to ensure the stability in the ecosystem, it should be okay in the next coming year lah. Hoping cross finger is not only one job, one side job, is always be a collaborative or collaboration within ecosystem partner like you guys, Cradle, and also the private side to work together on this.
I guess you can say the impact in terms of impact investment, we're a little bit behind, but we're getting there. It's going somewhere, right?
Yes, it's going
Okay.
somewhere.
All right. So I think our panel. Oh no. Okay. Before I end the session, allow me to open the floor for any of you guys to ask questions. Any questions that you have, if you wanna ask some questions that you couldn't ask outside of this session, go ahead. Okay. So I guess the startups does not have any questions. So Kim and Hisham, maybe we can have you guys conclude or summarize today's discussion, or probably give the startups a piece of advice when it comes to, I don't know, finding investment or stakeholder management or anything, running their social enterprise. But Hisham, maybe we can start with you.
I would say the same thing I say during my talk in my startup pre-accelerator before we went for, right? Number one is you have to understand the ecosystem market that you are going to be in, and you have to ensure the one that you are innovating on enhancing is solve the problem as a whole. It's not really add value to that problem, because if add value, if the technology is not there, it's considered fine because people can still run, people can still use that whatsoever, right? But is something that you are going to enhance or the pain in the market, you need to ensure is that going to be used and it's going to be scalability in the future. Because when you know your consumer, you know the pain that you are solve, and you see there is a potential in scalability, then the investor will come in, regardless you are looking to early investor, later investor, or any big investor, they will come in for you. But the fundamental at the beginning, the pain point that you are solving must be clear, must be within something that can be achievable, something that can be quantifiable, qualified, so that when you raise fund, there will not going to be an issue in the future lah. That's the first one that you need to understand, and you need to understand, because we are talking about stakeholder, you need to understand your consumer or your customer lah. Because whenever you fundraise, there's always be if you are fundraise to Creator, one of the grant panel will always ask who is your consumer. So what is your database right now? How satisfying your consumer with your technology whatsoever? So these are the common question that you're gonna be asked if you are fundraised, either grant or privately by the individual. So again, fundamental, and also the customer, know your customer is a key value for ensuring that you get the right investment coming in the future lah. That's my last word lah for this session.
Thank you, Sham. So that's the point of our exercise on survey for the problem and market validation. So you guys need to really validate the idea, the need of your product in the market. Okay, Kim, maybe we can have you share your advice to the startups before we wrap up.
I think maintaining relationship with your stakeholders are very important. I'm more practical. If you can set up calendars, to put a reminder as to when you need to, ping your stakeholder, go have a tea with your stakeholder, have a meal. When do you need to send them a wishing card or a gift to your stakeholders? Those things are super important. Because you need to understand, like, people don't remember you all the time, and I always tell my team, don't be arrogant, don't think that people will always think about you all the time. You are probably the 50th or the 100th person they would think of in a day, because there's so many things that they have, so many things and so many people that they meet, especially if you're talking to investors or people who are, giving you a very high value transaction. These people are super busy. They have a lot of people that they also have their own stakeholders. I think you have to remember, not just you, they also have their own stakeholders. So you probably are their 50th or 100th stakeholder. So do have those reminders, calendars set up for yourself. It's a new year, so good way to start off your new year by setting up some reminders for yourself in terms of maintaining stakeholders. Second thing, always have black and white with your stakeholders. Very super important. You're working with an investor, you're working with a partnership, you're working with a customer, even your team members, or even the community that you work with. Always have black and white. Even if it's just an agreement verbally that is so brief, have it black and white in a way that just send a WhatsApp message to recap. Super important, because a lot of times without black and white is the one thing that will ruin a relationship and a partnership, or your stakeholder, the way your stakeholder sees you. Super important. We make sure that we have all black and white with the community that we work with, even customers. I just got a very bad rating from a customer just because of black and white and stuff. Super important to make sure that you have black and white, whether it's a recap on WhatsApp or an agreement. These two are super practical stuff. I hope it helps you.
Thank you so much. Definitely. All right. Thank you so much, Tanos. Thank you so much to our panels. I will see you guys on the next sessions, which will be in another 2 weeks. Okay, guys, you know the drill. I would like to take one photo, one snapshot of all of us together one last time for this year. Everyone can turn on your camera. Okay. All right, everyone, smile. Okay. Sekejap. It's not happening. Okay, one more. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you so much, setups. Thank you, panels. I'll see you guys next year.